Before we get into today's video, I just want to give a trigger warning. Some of the content that we're going to be covering is pretty graphic and involves some sensitive topics. It may not be for everyone, so viewer discretion is advised. I enjoy watching people suffer. Posting this on a throwaway, because I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. This might be kind of long, but bear with me. I'm really nervous to post this, but it's basically what the title says. I really enjoy watching other people suffer, especially emotional suffering. When I see another person in physical or emotional pain, I get an indescribable sense of joy and happiness, and I struggle not to smile. It's not sexual, just happiness or pleasant satisfaction, or excitement like you'd feel with a favorite song, movie, or activity. This goes for both people I know and strangers. I really like looking at pictures and videos of violent deaths. The more gruesome, the better. And videos of crimes. Again, more pain, more joy. Both make me happy. My absolute favorite thing is police footage, not of the victim, but the victim's family when they're informed of a crime, especially parents being told their children are dead. The screams and sadness when they find out are so satisfying and bring me so much happiness and joy. I can't explain why. I've always felt like this. A friend of mine died a decade ago, and when I was told, I felt happy. We were very good friends. He was like my brother, and I'd known him since we were 5, but I never felt sad about him dying. I had to stop talking to his parents, because every time they were reminded of him and got upset, I would be happy and smile at their pain. It absolutely wasn't fair on them at all. I don't remember much of my friend anymore. It's the same with anyone who dies. After a few months, my brain wipes almost all of the memories I have with that person. I know they existed, I can recall facts about them, but I don't have personal memories of them anymore. Even with my close family, I'm like this. I don't go to relatives' funerals because seeing everyone grieving makes me happy. It makes me smile. I enjoy seeing their pain and I know it's wrong, so I won't put myself or others in that situation. I didn't go to my grandmother's funeral or my uncle's, and like with my friend, I don't remember them either. I usually use the excuse that it's too painful or I can't cope with those situations to justify why I don't go. Nobody has ever questioned me on it. I'm autistic, so people just assume that social situations are too hard for me and don't push it. I want to be able to grieve with everyone else, but I just can't. I feel like I'm incapable of grieving. When people are in pain, whether physical or emotional, I want them to hurt more. How far can you push someone until they break? What level of hurt will destroy them? How satisfying will it be when they reach their limit? And I know it's wrong to want people to hurt, but I can't stop enjoying it. People who know me in real life have no idea what's actually going on. I've always been described as fiercely protective of others, loyal, thoughtful, kind, but definitely not a pushover. I try to smile at people and compliment them to make their day better. I like to help. I've gotten into fights on other people's behalf when they were being bullied, even if I don't know them that well. I just can't stand bullies. They have no idea what's going on inside my head. What if they're afraid of me after I tell them? What if they hate me? I spent a lot of time in the hospital as a child. I was always sick with something, and I still suffer now with chronic pain. I've watched people die on hospital wards. I've seen them suffer until they choke, and each time I excitedly watch until they flatline. It's better when their families are there. I like seeing them grieve as they watch their loved ones die. The times where you can hear their pain in their sobbing is the best. It really makes me smile. I know there's something wrong with me. I know I'm not normal and I shouldn't feel like this. I don't go around physically hurting people. Whenever I get into fights, it's not because I threw the first punch. It's usually because I jump in to defend people. I don't know why I do that either. Defending people I barely know. Maybe it's because I want to get in a fight? I try not to think about it. I do, however, hurt people emotionally. I love arguing with others. When I argue, I say things I know will hurt the other person. I want them to hurt, and it'll always make me feel good when they are hurt. I don't start arguments, but I don't actively avoid them either. I used to be more aggressive. I'd throw stuff, break things, completely trash a room over something really small. But after taking anger management classes, I'm not like that anymore. Now, I know better ways to manipulate people in arguments. I can be totally calm the whole time, while they crumble. I'm not going to go around committing crimes or anything. Not necessarily because I care that it's wrong, but because I don't want to be arrested. It's not the action itself that deters me, just the consequences of it. I hope this makes sense. I know it's a bit all over the place. I've never told anyone this before, not even my therapist, so it was hard to put it into words. I feel evil for feeling this way, and I hate myself, but I don't know how to change it. I want to change, but I'm scared my brain is just wired wrong, and I can't fix it. I am a sex offender who is abused and harassed every single day. The victim and I are still in a relationship. When I was 21, I was in love with a 13-year-old girl. I knew her since she was really little, and our families were close. We did not expect to fall in love. It was weird and brotherly, but didn't really turn into a relationship until toward the end when she was almost 14. She wanted me to teach her and said she would do it with this messed up kid who did drugs instead of me if I didn't. It was actually very mild. Well, the law got involved. Long story short, I got in big trouble and am a sex offender for life. Our families, who are best friends, are now enemies. It is true we did stuff underage, but nobody cared about the nuances of it. That I was the only one who was there for her, the one who gave her guidance, that she listened to, the only one who was a positive influence, while her father beat her and her mother was verbally abusive. No one cared that I told her over and over that we would have to wait to be in a relationship. Now, for what I did, not one day passes where I'm not harassed, abused, and victimized. Even all these years later, word got out in my neighborhood last year when I moved into my house. I get graffiti at my house, signs around planted everywhere to stay away, moms shielding their kids and pulling them into the grass when I'm anywhere near, and accusations of being a pedo. Last summer, a group of teenagers kidnapped me, threw me in a car, beat me up with bats, and threw me out. And the police refused to come and get me. I get threats of violence, and the police told me maybe I shouldn't have been someone who preyed on a little girl. I'm tired of not having the most basic human rights because of the sex offender hysteria. I am unable to have a relationship with anyone because they dump me as soon as they find out. I still talk to the girl every day. It is almost 10 years later, and we are very close. Because I'm stuck in my house all day and hiding from society, she is the only one that makes me feel grounded. I know we belong together. I still love her, and I want to be with her. We talk every day and video cam every single night. She talks all the time about getting married with me, but it's complicated. You see, I can't marry her. The memories bring me too much pain. Even though I know our love is right, it brings me too much shame because I know that I did wrong. After being harassed so much, I'm reminded every day that I am guilty and did the wrong thing by taking advantage of her. People judge me, hurt me, beat me, threatened to kill me. When the teenagers kidnapped me, I was terrified. They were talking about lighting me on fire, and I thought that was the end. The girl wants to be with me and tells me every day, but she needs time to bring it up with her family and have them accept it. I could never face them. Right now, they would cut her off if they found out we were even talking together, let alone we're in an online relationship. I wish I had the strength to leave this town, to get her and pick up where we started, and start over together. But it is too complicated. I could not be with her without feeling like I'm a pervert. I could not face her family without feeling like scum. I could not bring our families together in marriage as they are now mortal enemies. And she could not tell her family either, as they would cut her off quickly. I know we belong together and one day it'll all work out. I always did. But all I do every day is cry about the life together that I feel we were robbed of. I want to be with her so much, and she wants to be with me, but for some reason, we can't. I essayed my incapacitated grandmother. My grandmother has been in a home since the time I was 10. Her health has been on the decline, both physically and mentally, for some time. By the time I was 14, her memory and general mental health had degraded to the point when she was basically unable to communicate with someone. She would lose track of who she was talking to after only a minute or so of conversation, and she could hardly make a coherent sentence by the time I was like 15. By that point, she couldn't even leave her room without accompanying another person. She was 83. By the time I'd entered middle school, it was clear that there was just no hope of recovery, only a downward spiral until eventually nature took its toll and let her go. By the time I was 14, we were near the end of her having any ability to function, and my mom wanted me to spend time with her. It was important to her that I meet my grandmother while there was anything left to meet. So every Tuesday after school, I had to visit my grandmother. Sometimes my mother would go with me, but usually I would go alone. Look, I know this is messed up, but I want to explain something. I would sit in a room with this elderly lady who couldn't even recognize who I was and would blather on about things that were completely nonsensical. She was senile, and it scared me. It scared me into doing things that I know are wrong. I knew they were wrong at the time. I know that I was really stressed and scared, and I guess I just let bad things take me over. It's hard for me to talk about what I did. I'll try to type it out though. I'm crying now remembering all of this, and I feel sick. I literally have a pain that feels like part of me was just taken out. The guilt is horrible. Well, here it goes. She was just sitting in her bed, and I just went for it. I started to feel her chest. I never felt that before, and I just did it. I knew that she couldn't tell anyone, and I was curious and scared, and I'd slid my hand under her gown and massaged her chest. That's how it started. I was 14. It moved on. While she lay in bed, I'm ashamed to admit it, but at some point I used my fingers on her inner private part and sucked on her chest as well while I was alone with her. Gosh, I want to vomit. This continued until I was 16, when I realized how messed up this was. At that point, she couldn't even talk. She died when I was 17, when she was 85. I had to give a eulogy knowing what I had done. I cried and dry heaved at the podium, and everyone thought it was because I couldn't handle the grief, but really, it was because I thought I deserved to go instead of her. Gosh, what is wrong with me? I was a messed up kid in a lot of ways. I probably need therapy, but holy crap, this was the worst thing that I did. I abused her. How do I fix myself? Nobody knows that this happened. And now I'm opening myself up for judgment. I deserve to die. Tell me that I deserve to die because I need to die. There's no other way to make things right. I was essayed and did the same to others when I was younger. I'm 17 years old and I'm not doing well mentally. I still live with my family. They're not the best. I've been physically and mentally abused and I have so much to say, but I won't for today. I want to talk about SA. I've been assaulted by 2 people, and it weighs on me heavily. And when I was younger, it led me to do something I cannot say out loud. When I was 7, my sister, who was around 14 at the time, touched me. At that time, I didn't know what SA was. I didn't know it was wrong. I just knew I couldn't talk about it. And later on, when I was 7 or 8, I did the same to another girl who was in our house. My mom at the time was taking care of her along with my nieces and nephews, and when I was 8 or 9, I kissed my younger sister. At around 11, she once told me about a memory of us kissing when we were younger. I gaslit her into thinking it wasn't real. I lied to save myself. I feel horrible. I carry so much guilt and shame, it's made me want to die. I wish I knew what SA was when I was younger. I wish someone told me so that I may have protected myself, and I had never done the same to 2 other people. I want to apologize to them before I leave my family forever, and I know they have every right to be angry and never forgive me. Is it selfish for me to want to apologize so that I can feel peace? I don't know. I don't really know how to feel, really. This is why I'm reaching out to strangers on here. I just want to know what to do. Am I a good person? Do I deserve to live? I often wonder if I'm different from those that essayed me. I know I never meant to harm anyone, and I was just a child when I did those things, but that doesn't erase what I did. It doesn't minimize the harm I did. I didn't write this so I could get pity. I just want to know the truth. Please, tell it to me how it is. When I'm older, I will get proper help, but I cannot keep this in any longer, so I have to say it. And if you have kids, please teach them about SA. Doesn't matter the age or gender. Please protect them. So with this one, I just want to read a couple comments. One comment says, "You're a victim of childhood trauma who projected this same trauma onto someone else because you thought it was normal after someone you loved made it normal to you. Now, instead of trying to cover it up, you're trying to heal. I wish you all the best in life." Another comment says, "I would get some therapy so that you can talk with someone who knows the best approach to this sensitive subject. They would be able to help you and offer the best ways to apologize. You aren't alone, so try not to beat yourself up. Forgive yourself. You were a child and didn't understand. It'll be okay." My unfortunate cuckold existence. This is how I came to live in a sort of cuck existence, due to my wife's infidelity. This all started a bit over 3 years ago. The first sign was when my wife became very financially hyper-vigilant on both of us saving our money in our 401ks. And she was insistent that both of us save the max, etc. Now, this seems like a good idea. However, her intentions were not pure, which would later be explained. Now, the juicy stuff. Just before Christmas 2022, she was careless, as these things happen, and she left her tablet open and I grabbed it to order something off of Amazon. I knew this would be a work tablet, so I never really messed with it, but we had done Amazon on it before and my laptop was dead at the time. I was almost immediately bombarded with some texts coming over, and I knew that they were sexual in nature. I opened and the story was clear. I saw nudes, etc., and lots of back and forth between the two of them. So I confronted her, and she admitted it, everything, and asked me for an hour, and she wanted to talk. During this hour, I assumed she spoke to him, and then sat me down and told me. She had no intention of ending it, and frankly had no desire to end the marriage, and mentioned the previous financial vigilance on a just-in-case scenario if I did leave or she left when this came out. However, we have kids, and she didn't want to split up for them. The next couple of months were kind of a blur. Life went on and we slept in the same bed, and even on a few occasions had intercourse, which she initiated. And then the bombshell came. His wife had found out, and he was immediately kicked out of his home. Having nowhere to go, wife decided he would move in with us, not in our house, but in a shed in the backyard. We have 4 acres. The shed would need a bit of work to make livable, but nothing that a few $1,000 in elbow grease couldn't fix. And so she gave me an ultimatum, or choice as it were. We could divorce and let the chips fall. After all, she can't control what I decide to do, or get a postnup, which we did, where in the event of divorce, I keep the property if I want, and she would get a predetermined amount for her share, $170,000. She also acknowledged her affair and has agreed to no alimony or maintenance if this happens. She still splits bills. He now lives in a shed in the back, which the two of them fixed up. He lives there as a tenant and pays rent, $600 a month. His ex-wife has been over, and I'm not sure what she knows, that my wife, his lover, is the cause of their breakup. Maybe she thinks we're just landlords. He does not come into our house. I have no idea when I and kids are not around. And she spends time with him back there when the kids are in school or away. She still sleeps with me, but we haven't had intercourse since he moved in. And yes, it is frustrating for me for a lot of reasons. Sometimes I have literally watched her put on lingerie for his benefit. She still showers and gets dressed in front of me, so in that manner, business as usual. We do discuss divorcing on schedule in a few years, and I think she is fearful of the kids figuring out if she is ever open with our tenant. Yes, at night she will go there if the kids are asleep. In the back of the house, he sort of knows. If I'm out, he stays in. We don't often talk. I'm so trapped and scared of this being discovered. I R-word my wife every time she gets drunk. My wife gets drunk at least once a month. She stays up too late, drinks too much, and eventually passes out. When this happens, there is absolutely no way to wake her up. On one such night a couple of years ago, I was not ready to go to sleep, and I wanted her to wake the frick up and finish my movie with me. It was one of those, how the heck have you not seen this movie? We're watching it right frickin' now movies. Super Troopers, LOL. She fell asleep on me and I only noticed because she was snoring. Screw that, she can't be asleep. We haven't gone to the part where Farva says shenanigans. I plug her nose, nothing happens. I shake her gently, nothing happens. I shake her not so gently, still nothing. You get the picture. I shouted at her and shook her as if there was a fire in the kitchen and got absolutely no response. If she wasn't snoring still, I'd have been worried. I stabbed a needle into her skin and infused 1,000 milliliters of normal saline. I was a Navy corpsman, medic, and acquired medical supplies for my work in case anyone is wondering. An IV before bed means you never wake up with a hangover. She still did not wake up. I carried her to bed, finished my movie, and headed off to bed myself. This is where I start to sound like a total perv no matter how I word it, so I'll just come right out and say it. I pleasured myself on her face. She didn't let me do that normally, but on this particular night, she didn't seem to have a problem with it, so I did it. I cleaned her up with baby wipes and tried to fall asleep. I felt like crap. I felt like the scum of the earth. I knew that what I did was reprehensible, probably a felony, and certainly grounds for divorce. I didn't sleep a wink. I can't keep a secret from my wife to save my life, so I told her that I needed to tell her something. I was shaking and crying and so scared. I couldn't come right out and say anything, so I waited until she poked around with some questions. I'm pretty sure after a few minutes, she was worried that I had cheated on her, so I just told her everything. She laughed her butt off. I told her that I basically raped her, that I took advantage of her inability to say no to something that she normally says no to. She didn't care one bit. She said she says no because she thinks it would sting her eyes and would be gross to get out of her hair. Since her eyes didn't sting and her hair was clean, she didn't care at all. The following conversation evolved into her telling me that she thought me having my way with her while she was unconscious was a huge turn on. She told me that I can do whatever I want to her limp, drunk body as long as she woke up clean. It was weird at first, graping my wife. I've probably done it close to 20 times by now, and it gets less disturbing every time. And every morning that she wakes me up and makes me tell her about it, it dissolves whatever residual guilt was left. So there's my confession. I know the word grape is a huge trigger word, and I realize that I've just used it like a dozen times in a lighthearted context. So if anyone is offended, let me know and I'll edit it out completely, somehow. I'm not sure what word I'd replace it with, but I'll try.